Good evening, everybody, and we're afternoon, evening, I guess late afternoon, early evening, depending on where you're at. Welcome back to the Phightins Phinal here on Edge of Philly Sports with your boy Matty B. Now, listen, what we never made any promises about how long after the game is over with before this show comes on, but no, come on. This is the later version of the Phightins Phinal from the recap last night's game. Let me explain to you what happened. So yesterday, I had the privilege to go up to Lehigh and check out the Iron Pigs and Bryce Harper. I had a great time up there. Awesome stadium, Coca-Cola Park or Coca-Cola Stadium, whatever they call it up there now in town. I've been there before. For those of you who do not venture or have not ventured out to a minor league baseball game, I highly recommend you go up there and check it out, even when Bryce Harper is not there, which of course now we know that will be after tonight. Bryce Harper won't be there, but 100% do I recommend you going up to a venue like Coca-Cola Park or any of your local minor league parks. It's just a old-timey baseball feel, good baseball. And obviously with Bryce Harper being up there last night, an absolute must-see. Was really close to him. Field level seats. That's what I'm saying. Field level seats. Everything that I purchased last night, including the tickets, was less than $100 for me and someone else to go with me. So just a financially friendly event as well. So I was up at Lehigh. I did not get out of Lehigh till late. By the time I got home, I figured, you know what, I would wait until tonight to come on and do a Phightins Phinal because I hadn't seen the Phillies game either. I bits and pieces of it. I knew what happened, but I hadn't kind of had an opportunity to watch the game. I have now. So I figured I'd come on later this afternoon. And what a better way to recap last night's show, but to kind of get you guys ready for tonight's game or last night's game, but also get you ready for tonight's game, which will be happening in about a half hour from now down there at the bank. Aaron Nola will get the nod tonight, but more about that game here momentarily. Last night, the Phillies, they continued rolling 7-5 winners over the Reds in a game where I was concerned about Christopher Sanchez getting a spot start. I don't like those spot start bullpen games, whatever you want to call them, at this stage of the season when the Phillies are kind of, in my opinion, still in a pennant race or still in a divisional playoff chase. I want to see the starters go. But obviously, Christopher Sanchez got the nod. It worked out well. He pitched serviceably. The Phillies were able to bang out some more offense and then kind of hang on a little bit there as the game was kind of out of reach for the Reds at one point, and it was kind of garbage time. Phillies did hold on to win 7-5, thus pulling to within 9.5 games of first place in the NL East. Folks, I'm not going to let this thing die until it's dead. The Phillies are now less than 10 games out of first place. The Mets were idle last night. The Phillies picked up a half a game on the New York Mets. They are also find themselves a full 2 games ahead of the San Diego Padres in that second wild card slot heading into tonight's action. And you got to start, are you feeling good, folks? Because I am. I'm feeling good. Still got the bitter Mets taste in my mouth, and I don't know if that'll ever come out until we have our vengeance upon them. But I'm feeling good about this team. As mentioned, Bryce Harper, he's been tearing it up. Last night's game was so cool. Let me kind of set the mood. He had 3 at-bats. I watched all 3 of them. He lined out, doubled, struck out, and then grounded out. And this was he led off the bottom of the 8th. The Iron Pigs were down 5-2. He led off in the bottom of the 8th with a ground ball. He hit right into the shift. About half the stadium then left. I stayed, and I was like, you know what? You always got to stay to the end because you don't know what might happen. And what happened was the Pigs rallied. Bryce Harper found himself at bat again in the bottom of the 9th inning with an opportunity to win the game. And guess what he did? He won the game with a double, a walk-off double, and the Iron Pigs won. And by the way, if you haven't noticed, and most of you probably haven't, the Iron Pigs are in first place in the International League. They are a playoff team right now. So, and that's happening with the homegrown talent down there. So, just a great night of baseball. Had the opportunity, as I said, to go to the game. Bryce Harper looking good. The word came down this afternoon that Bryce Harper will be activated by the Phillies tomorrow, which is good news. He is definitely ready to come back. And all is right in the Phillies world. So let's take a look at last night's line because it needs to be taken a look at. For the night, the Cincinnati Reds would finish with 5 runs on 10 hits and an error. Phillies with 7 runs, 15 hits and an error. A lot of hits in this game. A lot of hits. How it all happened, Phillies found themselves kind of down to begin in the bottom of the second, top of the second. Stuart Fairchild would homer to give the Reds a 1-0 lead. But then the Phillies came right back in the second. Matt Verling would get it started by knocking in Gene Segura to tie things, and then Rhys Hoskins would fielder's choice in Nick Maton to make it 2-1 Phillies. It would remain 2-1 to the bottom of the third when JT would step to the plate and he would crack a home run to make it 3-1. Then Kyle Schwarber would walk, forcing in Bryson Stott to make it 4-1. Rhys Hoskins would walk, forcing in Gene Segura to make it 5-1. And then Alec Bohm would knock in Matt Vierling to make it 6-1. And that is how the scoring was heading into the top of the fourth when Kyle Farmer would get back for the Reds as he would homer to deep left to make it 6-2. Then in the top of the fifth, would double in Phillies. Top of the seventh, TJ Frendel would sack fly in Jose Barrero to make it 6-4. And then Rhys Hoskins would get the Phillies some insurance in the bottom of the seventh, and he would single in Matt Verling to make it 7-4. In the eighth, Lopez would double in Aquino to make it 7-5, and that is how all the scoring would happen down there in South Philly. Offensively, individually, Kyle Schwarber was 1 for 4 with an RBI and a walk. Rhys was 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs. Alec Bohm 1 for 4 with an RBI. JT 3 for 5 with an RBI and the mentioned home run. Nick Castellanos 2 for 5. Bryson Stott 1 for 4. Gene Segura 3 for 5. Nick Maton 0 for 3, and Matt Verling 2 for 3 with an RBI as well. Jonathan India 1 for 3 with an RBI. Solino, the first baseman, was 2 for 4. And Stuart Fairchild 1 for 3 with the home run and the RBI. On the pitching side of things, as mentioned, Christopher Sanchez with the spot start. He got the win. He went 6 very serviceable, effective innings, 6 hits, 3 runs. All of them were earned. He did not walk anybody, and he struck out a career-high 7 batters last night. Nick Nelson, Bellotti, and Brogdon would come on and hold things together for David Robertson, who would pitch the 9th and get to save his 18th. On the Red side of things, TJ Zuch falls to 0-3. He only lasted 2.5, gave up 7 hits, 6 runs, 6 of all of them earned 4 walks, did not strike out anybody, and gave up the home run. Art Warren, Kloon, Samaritan, and Detweiler will also pitch for the Reds. And there you have it, folks. 7-5 Phillies. You got to be feeling good. Phillies in the season now are 69 and 55. So, yes, tonight they are going for win number 70. Win number 70 on the season. And want to keep pace. We got to keep pace both in the National League divisional race and as well as National League Eastern divisional race and as well as the wild card race. Tonight at the bank, 7:05, the series will wrap up. Phillies looking for the sweep, by the way. They will send Aaron Nola to the mound, 8-10, 3.25. The Reds will send in Justin Dunn, 1-1 in his 6.08 ERA. Elsewhere around Major League Baseball tonight, in games that matter to the Phillies, the Colorado Rockies will be going into New York to start a 4-game setup with the Mets. Jacob deGrom goes for the Mets tonight, and he'll be opposed by Ryan Feltner. St. Louis earlier today beat Chicago 8-3. As that was pretty much, they're the only 2 games that really have any inclinations, if you will, for the Phillies tonight. So they have it. Wanted to come on and kind of wrap things up. Wanted to come on and make sure you guys knew that I was alive still. Wanted to come on and make sure that you didn't think I was abandoning my post and not doing my due diligence by not broadcasting live last night. But I had a lot of things going on. I went to Lehigh Valley to check out the game, and oh, look at this. Looky, Joe Marks. How you doing, man?
Hey, man, missed you.
Oh, you missed me last night?
Yes.
Well, as I was explaining to everybody, I was up in Lehigh Valley, up in Allentown, checking out Bryce Harper and the Lehigh Valley Iron Pigs, and obviously ahead of today's news about Bryce being reactivated for tomorrow, obviously he was looking pretty good. His timing is there. He didn't seem to be with that. He did strike out once though last night, but he was hitting the ball a ton last night. And
so you're saying he has talent, but he's human.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But it's good news that he's coming on back. How do you feel about Bryce Harper returning to the lineup tomorrow night, Joe Marks?
As I've said for the past 3 weeks on my show, the cavalry is coming. The cavalry is here. And it is going – listen, and people asked, why do I consider him the cavalry? Because this is a guy that – without a doubt, is a generational player. is without a doubt a guy that can do what 5 men could do on one team. And this is just proof of what he's done down in Lehigh Valley. And just the idea that, like, he didn't go down there with an ego chip. He went down there to do work because he wants to come back here. And that was proof by what he had done on the Lehigh Valley team. And I'm looking forward to getting him back. The big question is going to be, where do you put him in the lineup? Where do you put him? Do you put him back at his 3-hole, or do you move him gradually up to that 3-hole? Do you baby step the guy? Do you baby step the MV3? I don't know.
The 2-time MV3. Let's get that
that's right. That's right.
So I don't think you baby step him. I think it's back to business as usual.
Yep.
Joe, let me interrupt you for a second because I got breaking news. The Phillies have just placed Zach Wheeler on the 15-day IL for what is it? For right forearm tendonitis. So Zach Wheeler is now on the DL or IL as of now, the 15-day IL with right forearm tendonitis. No other details about who might be the probably Bailey Falter will probably get recalled, but yeah.
I did like what Christopher Sanchez did, and for a spot starter, for a guy who's not going to play 20-25 games, he's a good guy to plop in there. I mean, I get that he only played against the Reds, and that it's what it was. They're a terrible team. But that being said, look, if he can handle himself, I'm all for that. And at least then it's not a bullpen game, or at least it shouldn't be. For what he brings to the table. But yeah, that is disappointing news about Wheeler. I guess the hope is that rest your horse or one of the horses now, because maybe down the road you're going to need that arm. I almost certain you're going to need that arm down the road.
So with the spot start from Christopher Sanchez last night, the way the starting rotation was now set up was Nola tonight, Wheeler tomorrow, Gibson at 3, Syndergaard at 4, and Suarez at 5. That's the way this thing is set up now with the spot start from Christopher Sanchez. So now tomorrow is Wheeler's turn. So obviously Sanchez ain't going to go. It's probably going to be Bailey Falter. He's probably the pitcher that's available that you maybe trust, or I don't know if you're looking at this more of another spot start, or it is a spot start, but because it's the Pirates, you decide to go ahead and give Joe Pro minor league guy an opportunity up there, or do you we still got some running down the do. We haven't won anything yet, so we still got work.
Yeah, and I don't know if you give like a Nick Nelson a spot start. I don't know if you go and bring someone else up. I think right now, especially for Rob Thompson, and I mean, at least, I mean, it's disappointing news, but at least not tomorrow during the day, and the news doesn't break then. Like, at least they know now with being able to say, okay, hopefully. Well, you also have to keep in mind tonight, we still have a game to play tonight, and with Nola, you have to keep in mind if Wheeler is not going to play, and we may have a bullpen game with Nick Nelson, we have to preserve that bullpen tonight. I mean, there is Nola cannot be off tonight, because if that bullpen pitches more than 4 or 5 innings, it's going to be bad times tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a domino effect. Definitely a domino effect. Also today, down in Lehigh, another injury update. Brandon Marsh will start a rehab assignment with the Iron Pigs tonight. So good news that he's working his way back. Potentially, maybe he might be ready for the Diamondback series, or maybe they wait till they come back off this current or upcoming road trip. Not sure there, but that's good news. But obviously, the Zach Wheeler thing kind of not what you want to hear at this stage of the season. I mean, it just isn't. It sucks.
Matt, I've never seen you run. But this guy Zimmerman, it doesn't matter what your name is. Like, I'm Paul Rock. It doesn't matter what your name is. Where did they find this guy? Like, this guy cannot play with I mean, Scott Kingery would have been better than this guy.
He was DFA'd from the Blue Jays. That's where they found him.
Good grief. I mean, that is just he is not good. He's
Now, Joe
not.
Marks, listen, we got a game tonight, and we'll get into that here in a second. I was actually kind of wrapping the show up when you jumped on, but as you show up here, it reminded me that I was going to ask you this question a little bit later on, but did I hear right? But did you walk back your proclamation that the Phillies are going to win the NL East? Am I now on the island on my own?
Yes, you heard right. I don't always walk back what I say. I always kind of stick to my guns no matter what. But I mean, you have to admit it is going to be very, very, very challenging for the Phillies to catch the Mets. Now, that was a disappointing 4-game series. It really was. I was disappointed at the Phillies. And if I'm being quite honest, and usually this gets me in a little bit of trouble, but I was a little disappointed in the fans. Why in the hell does any Mets fan base outnumber us in our ballpark? That's our turf.
Yeah,
that was embarrassing. That was from beginning to end. Like when I'm hearing them over, like I don't have vision, so I have to listen to the game. When I can hear Mets fans at my home stadium, that irritates me. I don't like the Mets as it is, but hearing your fans, that irritates me even more.
Yeah, and then the whole business with the general throwing out the first pitch and all that. So that was bad. That was all kinds of level different bad. But
that's like I thought about this. That's like a Cowboys fan going out and doing the coin flip at the link.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's true. The almighty dollar speaks. I mean, it doesn't really matter who you are as long as you buy those tickets. I guess they don't care who you are or who you represent. I don't know. I think it's bad. But you know what? There needs to be an answer from the Philadelphia fan base. And I mentioned this the other night. I think it was to the Gobbler on this show. What's to stop us from purchasing tickets at Citi Field, doing the same thing, and then having Jamie the sports guy go out there and throw out the first pitch?
Well, let's think about this. The next time we might meet the Mets could be in the playoffs. And
next year, I don't care. It doesn't have to be now.
Right, I get it. Response. But I will sit this out there, and Vince is a great guy. Philly Sports Chirps.
Absolutely,
If we want to invade Queens,
absolutely,
and make Queens our bitch, then I'm good with that.
Yep. No, it needs to be responding. Joseph hits up with he's okay with falter tomorrow against the Pirates. His last start was fairly well. I am okay too, Joseph. And obviously with the news coming out, and by the way, if you missed it, if you're just tuning in, the Phillies have placed Zach Wheeler on the 15-day IL for right forearm tendonitis. That's at least it's not his shoulder. That's good. Maybe that's, I don't know if it's the workload catching up with him for the season, but Bailey Falter would be my number one choice at this late hour, knowing that we know now.
All right. So before we go, one quick question about Zach, even though he's on the IL right now, because Tom McCarthy raised this as a question the other day on the telecast. Do you have Wheeler in your Cy Young finalist this year?
Oh no.
Okay. I thought he was a little premature with that conclusion.
No, Wheeler's been good. He's been very good. He has not been last year good.
Right.
But when you put the bar so high, it's kind of hard to replicate that. Unfortunately, if things continue the way they are, and even though he may only get about 9 or 10 starts for the season, but if DeGrom continues to throw the way he's throwing, it's either going to be DeGrom or Alcantara for me in terms of the NL Cy Young Award.
I'd probably go Alcantara because he's just so filthy. Yeah. I mean, DeGrom is DeGrom, but
he doesn't have the body of work right now, DeGrom, because he's been out most of the season. So, but I don't know.
I also think of it as like, look at the team that DeGrom's on, and look at the team that Alcantara's on. Like, who's got to do more? Who's got to do more heavy lifting? I would say Alcantara.
Absolutely. All right, Joe. Listen, let's wrap this up because we got baseball to play again tonight. The healthy, at least for tonight, Aaron Nola, who will be going for the Phillies at 8-10, 3.25 ERA opposed by Justin Dunn of the Reds. Phillies looking for the sweep. Phillies have already won the season series against the Reds, looking for the sweep. The Mets start a 4-game series at home tonight against the Colorado Rockies. Phillies enter tonight 9.5 games out of first place in the National League East. I will not I will continue to track that until the magic number or the clock strikes midnight, so to speak, until it's all over and over. I still believe that the Phillies will win the NL East.
Who's your reverse mush for tonight? Because I love the Matty B reverse mush.
Who am I pissed off with right now? Schwarber.
Okay. Schwarber. All right.
I'm sure.
So, folks, if you have a betting app, go onto it right now and go to hit Schwarber for 1 home run and cut Matty B on a little bit of the proceeds if you get enough of a payout.
Yeah, I'm. What is he now? 1 for 21 in the Red Series. You think now entering play tonight?
That means he's due.
Yeah, I guess so. I see that. All right, Joe. Thank you for jumping on with me.
No problem.
Listen, folks. Right after the game that's about to come on, I'll be back for tonight for the actually regularly scheduled Phightins Phinal, as we will talk about tonight's game. Until then, I want to thank Joe Marks of the Phightins Fanatics. Oh, by the way, Joe, before we go. Have you seen this? The 2023 Phillies schedule has now broken.
No.
It is now out. Yep, and I just flashed it up there. The Phillies will play every team in Major League Baseball next year at least one time. The first time in team history. Now, to kind of make up for that, the Phillies now will only face their division rivals in 4 series, not 6. So. We lose 2 series against the Mets, Nationals, Marlins next year, and Braves next year. So
I can live with that because then you got to face like the bad teams in the other divisions. So it'll be a nice little change of pace.
But it also is a lot more travel, a lot more West Coast work potentially. I don't know how I got to look at it and see where we stack against the A's and the Mariners and where all that's coming out at. But I'm sure it's kind of 1 for 1, whatever. But
I would hope a lot of off days in between. I would hope.
I would hope so. The season begins on March 30th. The Phillies will be in Texas to play the Rangers for the first weekend of the season. Then they will go to the Bronx and play the Yankees before coming home to open up their home schedule against the Reds. So their first 2 series next year are against the American League.
Okay. Okay. That's like ass backwards, but okay. All right.
So there it is. So go check it out if you haven't looked at it yet. It's out. Phillies 2023 schedule is out. We'll a lot of time to talk about that when this is all over with. Joe Marks, thank you very much.
No problem.
For joining me in. And as I said, look for me at the end of the game tonight in a few hours. Hopefully for a Phils sweep.
Yes.
Until we talk again, go Phils. And one more thing I'm looking at. Harry the K, where are you?